Hello and welcome once more to a Synced Stories video. I'm Chris, and today we're going to talk about well, we're not going to talk about it so much, but we're actually going to do it. Namely, we're going to refine Tintin. So as you may remember from last time, we did some refinement of Professor Calculus. Here I can bring it up to 100% here. So we did this in the left, in the blue here. Previously we had him in red, because we only did the rough sketching in the first round. But in last video we really tried to nail the form down, so we are left with a pretty good estimate of calculus. So now it's time for Tintin. So I will create a new layer here, Tintin refined. And as usual, I just take another white layer and duplicate by Alt dragging up, and then I'm renaming also this one. Okay, so we have that, and then of course we want multiply, and we want also naturally to see the old sketch we did, where we have that. Maybe we should we have calculus? We should, but he should also be multiply. There you go. So now we can hide calculus as only. So we have Tintin, we can call him R here for refined, and we can say this instead here, start. Tintin refined. Okay, so let's bring him up to 200%. And let me now look at the my left monitor, where I have my original artwork. Well, not my original art, but Hergé's original artwork. And also, of course, I want to see the hand also here, which we did previously. The hand comes there, right? Okay, so one thing I notice here is that position-wise we are a little off. And maybe also size-wise. So I have to think about that here. And always the question is, which part of the form is the crook? Where should I start looking? Where should I, if there is an error, how should I locate that error, or what should I start? Which part is contributing to the error most mostly. That's not always so hard or so easy to determine. But let's do like this. Let's create another new layer. Let's just duplicate this one, since we haven't guidelines. I'm creating a new guidelines here. And I'm going to mark out with the green as we usually do here. I'm going to mark out where I would want everything to go according to the original panel. So let's see. What I would like to see is that I'm now activating the brush 20% green, and I'm in the guidelines layer. Okay. What I would like to see is that the head goes, the position of the shoulder seems to be pretty much okay here. So the intersection here seems to be pretty good. Maybe the angle isn't perfectly right. It should be a little steeper, but otherwise the sort of the intersection works. However, what I would like to see is that I'm keeping shift down now, and I'm going to draw now, still keeping shift down to get a straight line. I would like to see the head here to the very right. This must slightly overtake this green line, so it must reach the green line and then a little bit more. So that's one thing. Another thing I would like to see is that the hair comes up a little more. By that I doesn't mean I do not mean that the hair necessarily must be bigger, but the end point. The end point should be approximately should be a little higher up. There should be approximately 2 of these thicknesses here of the balloon outline. So there should go approximately 2, and the hair should also be almost horizontal on the upper. So here there's a slight angle downwards, but the angle shouldn't be as much. So we'll have to fix that. And then this angle here at the head should be a little more, it should be a little low. Oh, excuse me, sorry. It should be a little lower here, it should go. And perhaps because of that, this head will be reaching this green line. Now the question is, what should we do to accomplish this? That is a very good question. in order to get this form correct. And I think perhaps the crook, if I keep on looking at my left monitor and my right monitor and my left monitor and the right monitor, and I think the main crook, the main culprit is that the hair is not wide enough here. So if we make the hair a little wider, then basically the whole head here, the right hand portion of the head, we have to move everything. And I think that is the project. And then also the ear is too little. I think we have to increase that by 5% or something. Because the ear has to end above the eyes. And also by the pure scale, I can see it here, like when I'm comparing, even without any other reference points, I can see that the ear is too small. So I think that's a good observation. And what else can we say? Yes, and then when we adjust the hair here and adjust the angle also, then and increase the scale of the ear, then I think most problems will be solved. Right, so let's start doing that. And first, so guidelines. So guidelines are now done, and we'll start doing Tintin in blue, cyan. Okay. So let's fix his shoulder first. As I said before, it should go a little steeper down there. So I think that will do the trick. And also we should move the hand a little downward, or maybe we should wait. Let's wait with that until we have tilted Tintin's head. Okay, so we have, so I think the problem, however, is that it seems also that maybe we should adjust the hair here also, or instead. I think perhaps maybe This is where it gets tricky. But judging from what I can see here, well, one thing I want to do already now is I want to move that in a little bit, the eyebrow there. I want to make it a little thicker there also, on the right hand side. And also I'm drawing that a little higher up there. Alright, and then I will move this line here a little lower. And I've also tried to make this a smoother transition here, so that the radius of the circle is, this radius here is bigger than it was before, because in the red version here there's a smaller circle and then it's sort of like a longer straight line here, but here now I'm making this roundness. It takes less, or it takes more time to sort of get to the end here. It has a bigger radius, bigger diameter. Okay, so that's one thing then. And then we can leave this here for now. We can leave this one for now. And then, but then we also should, we also should get up to the green line there. Right, so maybe we need to do something like this instead. And then we need and then this one, this bent here, or this curve, is, it's actually so this is not so, it has to start a little higher up here. And it has to go more over here. And then it has to sort of go in here and joining the old red line here. Something like that. We have to work on that line there, but and then we can clean it up a little. And then we also also have to make some, maybe also some, we need to move Tintin, the whole of Tintin, a few pixels to the right also. So it's not just about enlarging the head, but it's also about moving him, maybe. But this is tricky. But as I said in my last video, this video is of course it's about refining Tintin. Of course it is. But it's just as much about training our eyes in general for drawing. So we always need this ability to refine our lines if we are serious about our drawing. So this is my sort of take here, is that we have to, I mean, no sane person ever would sit so many hours that I have done with just one panel and so little lines. I mean, I'm spending an incredible amount of time for just a few lines here, but the idea is not just to recreate the lines for the sake of their original beauty and like that. It's not just about a Tintin panel. It's about the ability to compare and contrast and judge and analyze two different paintings and trying to pinpoint exactly what's different about them. So I think that's the real lesson. The real lesson is not Tintin, but the real lesson is to develop our eyesight and our ability to measure and compare. How big is the nose compared to the ear? How big is the collar compared to the height of the hair in the case of Professor Calculus? All these questions. So we have to be able to work on our skill to harmonize things. So that's what I'm doing here. I want to be able to quicker and more easily see the dimensions and proportions and beauty of a drawing. Alright, so let's see, so we can I'm going to outline also the right hand side here, or the left hand, sorry, the left hand side, and I'm of course simultaneously looking here at the left but I wonder if the nose actually comes there, because what is remarkable is that the nose of Tintin, as I just saw it 5 seconds ago. The size of the nose of Tintin and the size of the nose of Professor Calculus, they are quite different. So if we're looking here on this my sketch, or my sort of refined version now, one may think that, okay, but Professor Calculus, wow, it's so big compared to Tintin, or conversely that, Tintin's nose is so small compared to Calculus. But the funny thing is that in the original it really is that. So Professor Calculus's nose is maybe 35% bigger height and 33% bigger length. So it's longer and it's taller, or higher, thicker, I don't know. Okay, so we are still on the blue here, and I'm filling in here. And maybe this angle should go a little more up here, and then it should start falling down a little there. I will have to look at this when we are removing the red. But I will continue inking a little bit more here. Not inking, but I will continue refining, and I will move this up a little bit because it looks like it's actually something like that, and then it goes down there. And then we have, and this seems to be working pretty well, and then, but the line is thicker here where I'm now. Thinner, thicker, and then it's thinner again here. And that is one of the things that makes Tintin so beautiful, is that they have not entirely equal thickness of the line. So and also this line here is thicker than this line or this line. The question is just exactly where it goes. And then see, and then we have the shirt, or the and the collar here, and sort of hangs together. Then of course we have Professor Calculus's hand here, so we don't know exactly where to draw yet. But this angle should be higher up. This angle must be higher. So we have to, and this should not be a very thick line. So we have to hone it in. whatever you're saying. Okay? Honing it a little. After all, we are carpenters to some extent. Or we are people who are refining things as we go all the time. A little here and a little there, and then we can fill in this line as well. I think this could even be a little up here. Very little. It's all in the angles. Maybe this even was too much. So I'm going to take a little off here. Nice rounding there. Hopefully it will be in the end. Okay, so let's look at, I'm now going to remove the sketch layer here. And we just have our refined version. And I'm now going to compare the form over here, which is the main interest right now. And I'm also going to check the, I don't know what you call it, the standing up hair here. I don't know if you have a name for it, but at least we can remove a little here. Although it should be quite thick here. So, but I think the thickness should come on the outside there. And this line should sort of be bending. It should be curving all the way, so to speak. So it shouldn't end in a straight line, but it should bend all the time. So at the very end here, it isn't parallel to any of these lines up here. So the effect is probably, I mean, it probably is when he's drawing he might be drawing either of these first. I mean, I think that's pretty possible, or it sounds plausible that he starts with either of those, which I don't know which one, but so if he does this one first, then he does this one to the very right here second, and by doing that he sort of may try to make them parallel, or almost so. So this one has a slightly bigger diameter than this one. This has a, oh, actually it's the other way around. Oh, that's funny. This should have a smaller diameter than this one, as actually I've already done it. It's almost right, although here should be, this line here should go more. Okay, and now I see that so this has to go up a little more here. And maybe this is where it all, my mistake here. Make this a little smaller here. And then we increase this here. Then we increase this one here. So we come up closer to the green line that we were talking about before. Okay. Oops. Whoopsie doopsie. And this has to be a beautiful head here. So much is sort of hinging on that the form of the head is really critical, I think. It's really here you can see if this is drawn by Hergé or not. So it has to have these angles. And of course this line quality as well. But then there's also some little indent, not indent, but the angle changes a little bit here at that point. And it goes maybe we can take that down a little bit here, down here. And this line should also be thicker. Up here. Should be a little thicker. And we can expand it a little. It's also a good exercise not only for the vision in terms of being able to compare different drawings, but it's also a good exercise for to be able to master the drawing pad or your Wacom or whatever you have, your Intuos. With as few extras as possible, without any fancy smoothing or any fancy turning of the canvas or anything. Just plain like you were working on paper. And so, okay, so I think actually this is better than the previous version. So we're already come a little bit towards the inking and the coloring and all that. Well, still there are details, and we can easily, we have to get a little smoother up there. This shaving off. This is a shaving off exercise. Shaving off. Okay. And also here at the very end here, there is no such indent here. There's a small indent there, but there's no indent in the original Auger panel. So we'll remove this. So he's just going, he's going straight there, but then at the very end here he's dipping down, sort of. Right when we're coming to the color. So depending on exactly where we put the color there. Oh, let's hold with that for now. Just fixing this line so it's whoops, so that it is straight. That's what better quality there. If it goes, or it better continue a little bit more there, and then it goes down more. More like that, I think. Yeah, a little change of direction there. And then this one here is, so the white portion here is almost not visible. It's very, very thin white, so I have to drag this in, and then I have to, and this line thickness here is not so much either. So, and then the blue line here starts a little later there, and that matches better also with the continued line on the other side of the hand there. So I think that's a better. But now what I'm doing here is that I'm extending this a little bit downwards here, because there should be more white of his collar visible. And I'm also seeing now that this at the very bottom here, this line is too long. So I'm sort of preparing for the hand to be moved. Okay. And we also note here on the original that the angle of this collar line here that goes this way here is slightly different from this angle here. So it's not that I don't see that. I do see it, and they are different, and they should be approximately something like this. Okay, now so let's go and actually let's move the hand here. Is this the hand or not? Where is the hand? What is that? What is layer 6? There's nothing. Okay. The hand is there. Yes. Okay, then we are, let's put it above here, just in case there is something on layer 6 that isn't visible here at this magnification. So hand 1 moved down. Okay, hand 1 moved down. And of course now they're super red because we have two identical layers on top of each other. So I'm removing the old one and V for move tool, and then I'm taking it down like that. And we also note here that the hand reaches just outside the green line, and on the original I see that the hand is a little bit to the right of Tintin's right head here. But I wonder if there is still some rounding left to be done here on Tintin. So now that we have done that, let's go back to Tintin. Maybe we can start at okay. Fix collar, we can say. And now we're going to adjust the head again to the very right. because it has to. I think there is something here. We have to get this angle is going a little bit. Let's try this. Oops. So if I compare these guys, this angle must go. You must shave off a little bit more here. I don't know. It's a wild guess, but we saved the last layer, so we can always revert back to that. And that is, of course, the beauty of layers, that you can do something and then sort of like a test, and then you can copy that test and continue and see if you like test number 2 better than test number 1, and if you don't, you can always revert back to the old one. And that is really the beauty of layers is also, of course, that you can work on different parts of the drawing on separately. So you can sort of you don't have to destroy the whole drawing just because you did a mistake on one part. So I think that's a really fantastic invention. I mean, it really is a revolution in terms of how artists work. So I think it's not a bad idea to be extremely grateful for these fantastic tools. I mean, just having a Wacom and like I have, just a simple Intuos. It's not even a new one; it's an old one. Just having that and a nice computer, I mean, that's a fantastic thing. It's not. I can't. It's hard to express in. And perhaps many of you who are working with these tools every day, you are sort of so used to it that you don't think like I do here. But I think it's a very wise thing to sort of think the thought that what if these tools didn't exist? I mean, what would I do? Would I just sit with my pencils all day long, or my Copics, or what would I do? Alright, so we still have some work to be done up here, but I think we're getting there. Slowly but surely. So but I think it's wise to, or wise and wise, but I think you have to really love the idea of lines. You have to sort of like making them beautiful, whatever that means for you. Different persons may not think that the work I'm doing right here is very important or very necessary or anything like that, but and that's okay, of course. Everyone has a different style and different focus and different sensibilities, as we know from Jane Austen. And so shaving a little more. Now this must be higher up. Okay. This must be higher up. There. So that we can raise this line a little bit there. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And then a little more in here. How does that feel? It doesn't feel so bad actually. So, but there is a pixel or two here to work on. Yeah. Well, let's try to make them approximately equal in thickness. Okay, now let's go up here. We are on the white now. We can re-establish those. And these, both of these should go closer. They should be closer to each other here. Maybe still there is something to be let me see here. I think actually there may be. Let's do that then. Because I have some problems getting these two lines in with the same distance as here. And that must mean that there we could move these guys here to the right. Everything to the right here. A few pixels to the right. So copy, paste, V for move tool, and then I use the arrow here. I take 3 pixels. And then I merge again with the last layer there into a new copy. So adjusted top hair or something. To the right. Or actually adjusted right part of head. Okay, so I think maybe this actually fixes most of the. There is something still with the curvature that isn't optimal, but it's not. I won't do that now. Maybe we can do that later. But so we're going to adjust these lines up here first while we are at it, and this is a layer that should go, and there must be more white space there, and the angle of the line is okay. Maybe a little more to the right there. Actually goes outside of that. Both of these go a little outside of that point to the right there. And this highest point here also. So and we should have maybe the angle a little to the left there. And well, that, and then we just move this one a hair, and there should also be actually some roundness to this line here. There should be a slight like a hill or like a curvature, and just a tiny, and the distance is a very light touch there. Okay. And now our next mission here is to, I guess it's to reinstate the multiply, and we also want to see the Tintin sketch layer also. Why? Because now we are going to have to place the reposition the nose and the eyes and the mouth and the ear. And of course, as I said before, the ear has to be bigger, and it also has to have a slightly other angle. So let's start with the old sketch, and I purposely saved these. I didn't merge them because I knew we would have to adjust them later. So what I will be doing is I will take the, okay, let's do like this. I'll take we've already corrected the eyebrows, okay, but the eyes and the nose and the ear and the mouth, here we have them as separate layers, and we will reuse them up here. Let's drag them up above here, and then we are hiding all the total sketch. Now we have the new version we're working on. And we can actually put these guys below the start point here. So these are the Tintin S but it's not Tintin S for sketch. It's not Tintin S the object. The object is the eyes. So it's the eyes sketch. We take a bigger S here. Eyes, the sketch version. So we have copied this one from sketch. Just copy from sketch. Okay, and we just replace that so it's very clear. If we ever go back and look at it and analyze it, and so, okay, so what we want now is we want to resize. Let's start with the ear. And we want to increase it. So proportion wise it's almost good, but size wise it's not big enough. So this looks better to me. And if we, so I think what we can say, we think about this angle here. So when the main stroke of the ear starts and ends, and that angle there. So when I'm comparing to the other original drawing of this panel, I'm looking at that angle, and I'm seeing that that angle is it's not this angle that I have now, but the shape of the ear is good anyway, in terms of how most of the lines are. So it should be more upright, I think. So the angle should be something like this. And what we also can look at is that the area that is sort of, if we think of this area here in between the ear and the back head, if we think of that area as like a closed area, how does that area shape look like? Is that area as big as the area in the original panel, or is there some difference? And I would say that the ear in the original drawing comes closer to the back of the head, but then it also must go more down. It also must be closer to the collar. So it must come down here somewhere. And also remember now that the ear should be, so if we take it like a straight line from the top of the eyes there and drag down, then the ear must come above that line. Okay. So now I approximately know what I'm going to do, but we still have to move this down a bit. We still want the coming closer to the hand as well. So it should be this close to the hand as in the original drawing, but then the shape should be a little different. So shape wise, I think we still have to draw a new blue line, but we have something that seems to work. It's not entirely bad. But the question I'm sort of struggling with right now is, where should his eyes really be? And the question and the answer to that because if we have to move the eyes, then we have to probably move the ear as well. So I'm committing that now for as a start. And we'll have to draw it. But before I start drawing it in blue, I want to reposition the eyes and nose as well. Because I think they actually should be a few pixels down. So I'm selecting both of the eyes and the nose, and I'm putting it going down. I'm also going left 1 pixel, maybe even 2 pixels, because the left eye has barely any white in between it, here to the outline of the head here. There's barely any white there, so the eyes should go there. The only thing is perhaps that the right eye perhaps should be a little bigger, and I really mean a little. So we would have to adjust that perhaps. All right, and that's that done. And the mouth seems to be going pretty good. So we have ear and mouth and nose and eyes. Perhaps the outline of the nose could be a little thicker, but other than that, I think it's basic. And we also can note here that the position of this eye, the right eye and the right eyebrow, they are not aligned like perfectly. So the position of this eye on the original, this right eye is positioned, we can say, right under the very left tip of the right eyebrow. It's not positioned like in the middle of the eyebrow. So because then the eye would be here. So I don't know if this is like is on purpose or not, but this is the way it is on the or maybe I'm just seeing it. Or maybe my curvature isn't exactly like Hergé's. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is in the middle. Maybe I just have to look at it differently. Yeah, I think it actually is more in the middle than on my. But how is that possible? How is it possible? is the right eye more to the left than this red here? Because as I see it, the right eye should be a little 4 pixels to the right or something. But okay, so we'll have to see now when we start with the blue again. Okay, so now we're going to do the adjusting. Should we say adjusting eyes, nose, mouth here, perhaps. So let's do that. Let's do this. We are gradually coming to we have blue on the brush and we have 20%. I have a Wacom board here that has slided a little. So it always has to be in the right position compared to my arm. Otherwise, of course, the lines won't come on the screen in the right angle. Okay, so we have a nose there, and then we are going to, so maybe the eyes should be a little bigger as well. Let's see, maybe they should be higher than the white portion of the nose. So this height here, they should be higher than that. So maybe we can make them a little bigger, and then I make this also a little bigger, and I move it 2 pixels or something, and a little higher there perhaps. And the lowest portion of the eyes should not be lower than this nose line here. And then we can fill in the mouth, because it's really almost the right position. It's pretty thick lines here in the mouth. Very little white in the middle. And the angle here is important also, so we have to adjust that. The angle should be a little steeper. And if that is steeper, then we have to have it a little higher. Okay, so now let's remove the sketched eyes, the sketched nose, and the sketched ear. No, the ear we should keep, but the mouth we should Right, so then we can sort of fill in a little more blue here to get it more precise. Blue, 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 blue. And it should be more elliptical there. That. It's a little too low down, I think. Let's move it up a little. Just painting a little more up there and then removing a pixel or two here. That. Oops. 200. Okay. And the nose line has to be much thicker. Maybe not that thick, but and maybe that is the explanation also. And this line has to go a little further. Aha, okay, I see it now. Okay, there's something interesting here with the... Since he is using some kind of fountain pen or nib, some nib, steel nib, it seems as if he's doing this. He's getting different angles here. So there is like a shadow here. So the form, he turns his pen, but the form sort of is a 3D here with the shadow down here. And but then when he sort of finishes off, the summary is simply that there is one shape inside here which is sort of going it's a strange form, but it goes first a little down and then changes angle like that. But on the outside, if we can say like that, then the form sort of goes inside or into it sort of narrows. Getting more narrow when it comes in here, which is why I didn't see it in the first. So this one goes down and then a little changes angle a little bit, but this one on the outside, it goes sort of it goes approximately like this then. And comes in here a little bit, up here. And then it gets broader again, coming down here. Maybe that is the secret, I don't know. But I think if we just fill this in really so we get a solid understanding of this line, then we are good. We have come a long way. And then the right eye is actually a little more wider. It's almost like a diamond shape. If you enlarge it, you see it better. Okay, and then we have the right eye here again, so we'll create a new layer here, and we will call it adjusted ear. And I will go back to the red ear here, and I will adjust it again now as I see it. So there are two things that I actually want to do. Okay. I'm comparing now, to and fro, to and fro, to and fro. And I am deciding that I'm going to create a new layer here, and I'm now actually going to cut this, not just copy it, but cut it. Well, actually we could copy it. Let's just copy it, and we will call this inside ear instead. Sketch. And by choosing the move tool here, we can, because I need to adjust the angle here of this, which was a little off. Actually, it's too big now, I think, but let's go back to the scale so I can compare it with. No, it's actually not too big, it's actually too, but it's a little off in terms of angle, so I think this angle is better. But maybe even it is that the ear itself is still too small. I'm going to increase it just a tiny bit, tiny weeny beeny weeny. Okay, like that. And now we position the inside ear here again, also approximately like that. And I also need to erase a little on that. Or maybe it's alright. I go no, I go solo on the inside ear, and it doesn't interfere with the ear itself. Okay, so I'm good. Okay, so now I go back to the adjustment of the ear here, so we will do that in blue again. And I'm up 400%, I shouldn't be, down 200. Why? Because I'm always working in the same scale when I'm comparing with the original, so otherwise I can't really easily see if they are of equal size, or if the position is off, or the angle is off, or the thickness is off, or like that. So alright, so now what I think I will be doing here is that I need to get the main outline of the ear first correct. Then I can adjust the inner lines there. And this line here should go a little more straight than I originally drew it, and then there should be a slight beautiful curvature to it. So it should be, so here should be more straight also. Okay, back to blue. And the line thickness here, of course, at around the top of the ear is thicker than it is lower down here. So the thickness is sort of tapering off. And then, but we still have basically the same thickness as the hand here. But the back of the head is well, it's the back of the head is slightly thicker than this line, but up here it is the same thickness as up here in the ear. Right. Okay. So now we'll take this line here. It almost looks like this line here inside the ear almost looks like one of those symbols for astrology. You know, these if it's Jupiter or if it's Mars, or I don't know. It looks like one of those. Capricorn, Sagittarius, all of those. Gemini. I think there is one of those symbols there. That would be fun to see what that is. All right, so we have I think it's a pretty good line there, but we could extend it a little bit more, so we get that angle that I was talking to you before, or talking about before. And then this line should go more straight down there. So let's see how that outside and inside, how does this compare now? Okay, not bad, but this should go down a little more. And this should be white. White there. And then that should be a little thicker there, all the way around there until we come down there. But this is too thick, so let's shave that off. Shave it off a little here. Just a tiny portion here. Okay, and then I see the mouth there, so we have to make it has to go a pixel or so up, a little higher up. Has to go higher up. And I'm not sure about the white, how much white we actually should. Maybe that's too much, I'm not sure. Well, let's leave it for now. So I think that's not super bad. We could adjust a little bit to the, I think we have to, the curvature seems to be pretty good, but I think it should, the ear should go a little angle to the left. And a little closer to the back of the head also. Okay, so I'm committing it there. Okay, I'm also going to shave off a little bit of this length here. So it's probably only going like that. If Okay. And I'm making this a little bit smaller here also. Or less thick, I mean. Like that. Mm-hmm. And now this distance is too long here, so we have to distance to, it's too, okay, so something like that. And yeah, well, just once again the angle here is spooking me out here a little, so alright, so let's leave it at that for now. I think it actually had a better form before, but inside ear looks like that. More natural. Okay. Should we persist? I guess so. Let's just make a quick other round here now, just so we can actually complete this. That would be nice. Complete Tintin today. That would be nice. In terms of course, the refinement, but not in terms of inking or coloring or anything like that. So we should be soon ready. It's just we only have this, the front of the face there, front of the head there. So okay, so I'm going to let that slide now there, and we are now going back to this portion here, and for that I'm going to merge, Control Alt E, into a new layer. So we have adjusted ear 2, and now I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to work on the lower left face. Okay. Not lower, well, we can just, okie dokie. So let's zoom out 200%, okay. Brush 20% blue, and we are trying to get a smooth shape. of the same shape that is in the original. And I see that I need to go in the inner, I want to follow the inner line there. Like that. And the line thickness down here is maybe 30% or so thicker than it is up here beside the nose. And also another thing here is that he doesn't have broken lines in the face here. So this line here actually goes right into the nose, and this one as well. So it's not like in UD11 or 987 degrees centigrade where I like to have broken lines sometimes. So but here at least Hergé is not doing it. So then we do what he did. We try to emulate as closely as possible what he did. So as I usually say in these videos, it's not about me trying to do my version of this. We're trying to learn how the lines are formed and what shape they have and what thickness they have and what curvature they have and all this. And we're trying to learn also, of course, the art of duplicating someone else's work just by looking at it, not by copying it on a light board or light table or light box, but actually just seeing it and trying to replicate it that way. So it's a demanding exercise. It's not for people who want immediate results. You have to be very, very patient. But of course, you have to be interested in the process. So you can't spend 6 hours or 8 hours or 10 hours doing just one panel if you're not sort of patient, and if you're not sort of liking what you're doing. So you have to like what you're doing. Okay, and then we have this line up here as well. So the eyebrow there has to be inked later on perfectly close to the head there. All right. And then we have some sweat particles coming out from his head here, from Tintin's head, but we're not going to draw those in this video. Instead, we're going to do that in the next video, I think, because the hand is slightly easier to do, so I think we can squeeze that in there. And then at that time we will also make the balloon tail, the balloon pointer, which we haven't done yet. And by doing so, we also can check the distances even better. Maybe we should move Tintin 3 pixels closer or further away from calculus. But we'll see that when all the shapes are taking form. But I think we have at this point we have a reasonable version of Tintin. And if we now only make him multiply, then we can see what we have so far. So the only red left now is the hand. So in the next issue here, in the next video, we will do the hand. And also quickly here, I will have to just simply add, we have done this before, but somehow it got lost, this stroke here. So now it's back. Okay, good. So at the end of the video here, I will, as usual, just remind everyone that this is the one I'm working on right now. It's 987 degrees centigrade, and it's the first book out of 8 in the Unlimited Danger series, season 1 that is. So on the back cover here we will have a list of all the projected books, the 8 books in season 1. And this of course is an action thriller science fiction adventure with the energetic Barry Riley, as we see here on the font cover here. He is always in danger, he's always in action, he's always in conflict and adventure, and speed is the name of the game. Alright, I think that sums it up, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.